Hello and welcome back to episode 2 of our Child's Play charity episode. Right now we are joined by a member of the organization. His name is Travis Eriksen. You still there?
Yeah, hello. Okay. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on. We just wanted to have you on to, show that we're not just taking all these people's money and stowing it away, but we also wanted to talk to you about the organization, when you started it, what you guys do, and just give us a little bit of info so everybody knows where their donations are going.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can run for a long time about Child's Play, or if you guys have questions, I can go either way.
Well, let's start. When did you start the charity?
So Child's Play was founded in 2003, November of 2003, by Mike Krahulik and Jerry Holkins of Penny Arcade. At the time, it was one of those periods where video games was getting some bad press, and they decided that they thought their fan base would probably be able to come together and do something positive and try and give media a chance to say something positive about video games and video gamers. And so for a couple weeks, between end of November and middle of December, they did a toy drive and raised about $250,000 worth of toys for Seattle Children's Hospital. Wow. Just of having their readers and fans send in toys. And after seeing the success of that, they kind of went, oh, this is a thing we started. I guess this is what we do now every December. And from there, it's grown. We're in our 15th year now. And where we've expanded from, just Seattle Children's Hospital to we're in over 145 hospitals worldwide now.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. Yeah, we actually went through a couple different charities that we looked at, and we, when I started reading about you guys, we were just immediately we knew that that's what we wanted to do, and we're counting that in our 100th episode, and that's why we wanted to do something special. So when we came upon this charity, we were on board to do something.
Well, we really appreciate the support. It has a huge impact, and that's been one of the strongest things about Child's Play over all these 15 years is we've always had the community support, so that we haven't been going out as a charity doing asks with people and companies and things like that. It's people finding us and saying, this is an amazing organization, I want to support it, and doing everything from, putting on a little senior project. We get lots of kids doing senior projects, putting on like a land party in their school where they're like, hey, $5 in a can at the door supports Child's Play, to, Loading Ready Run and Desert Bus in November that does their amazing week-long show and raises hundreds of thousands of dollars for us.
That's amazing.
More than we can raise.
Yeah, but
sorry to let you know.
Well, I'm sure every little bit helps.
It absolutely does. I mean, one Xbox, PlayStation, one console, right? $300-400 is something that can benefit in the range of around 1,000 kids a year. It doesn't feel like much when you do just a little bit, but when you put it into that perspective, it has a pretty big impact. And it can be all the difference for a kid sitting in a hospital, being able to have that level of normalcy that they don't have otherwise, to be able to play a game that they'd be playing if they were at home. And depending on the facility, some facilities even allow them to sign into their own Xbox Live account or PlayStation account and play with their friends, so they actually get that full impact of what you have as a gamer, where you're playing with your friends online already.
That's great.
That's great.
How do you select which hospitals or facilities receive your donations?
So all of our partner hospitals are ones that have applied. We don't necessarily seek out hospitals, just we're a small staff. There's 4 of us on staff as of March this year. Before that, we were 2 people. So it's a lot of hospitals coming to us, and so it's people who, might have worked at one hospital and moved to another, and when they moved to this new hospital, they said, "Oh, you're not part of Child's Play? We need to get on that right now and do an application." And then in the last 3 years, we've visited over 100 hospitals with a partner charity, Game Changer, doing our Gamers Give Back tour. And when we do that, we visit hospitals in sort of a region, right? We might head into New York and sort of hit some hospitals in New York. Or I just got back, I did a visit last week to Sioux Falls and then Boys Town and Kansas City. And so we try and hit a couple hospitals in a region. And when we do those, generally, sort of we do 3 at a time, and odds are pretty good that there'll be one hospital that's not currently a partner that we'll go do a visit to. Mm-hmm. And once we're there, we really encourage them to join as well. And it's not a hard sell. Hey, fill out our application, and we'll make you a partner and send you stuff every year because the gaming community is amazing. We're getting ready this week. We're going to send out $1.5 million to our partner hospitals.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Is Shriners one of your partners?
Yeah, we have lots of different Shriner hospitals. So one of the things that I think is really special about Child's Play is we're system agnostic. When it comes to hospital systems, we'll partner with, any hospital system. So Shriners, Children's Miracle Network, Kaiser, sort of whoever the hospital is, we don't care. You could be a small little local, small town, Midwest, one region, your own children's hospital. Great, be a partner with us. And then we're system agnostic when it comes to games and everything else that we send. We know that there's a broad spectrum of what people play that way, so we get everything we can out there.
That's good.
Yeah, I know that Katrina, my wife, spent a little bit of time at was it Shriners?
Yeah, I grew up in the Shriners Institution in San Francisco until I was about 8, 9 years old, and I stopped going. But they always had arcades there for the kids, keep us entertained. Because you sometimes be waiting there all day to be seeing your doctor. It was free service, so.
Yep.
Well, and we were just talking about it before. Our friend Alan, he's actually in the room with us right now. He's a nurse, and he said that. What were you saying, Alan? You wanna?
Oh, just that studies show that this type of studies show that distraction techniques like video games and things like that are showing efficacy in pain management, and there's less need of opiate prescriptions and opiate management post-op for a lot of these children, and pain is usually the biggest barrier to healing, so you get them out of the hospital faster because there's sick people in the hospital. You don't want to stay in the hospital longer than you need to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, one of the things that we've done to help educate the staff at these hospitals we partner with is we have a therapeutic game guide. Everybody listening can go to childsplaycharity.org, and at the top you can download our therapeutic game guide, and it looks at different symptoms that they're dealing with in the hospital. Pain is one of them. Looks at anxiety, looks at short-term versus long-term boredom, and it's a tool that we put together to help teach the staff at these hospitals who aren't necessarily gamers how games can be used beyond just a distraction of you're bored, play this game, but hey, here's something you're dealing with. You're in pain after this procedure. You're really anxious about this upcoming blood draw that's happening. And here are games that you can play that will help lower that pain score or lower that anxiety level without the need to use medication, or without as strong a need to use medication. And so it's not a thing that they necessarily know outright which game to pick. Like, they understand the good that games are doing. The Child Life staff we work with are amazing, but it's helping them be really intentional about the games that they give.
I didn't know any of that. Before Alan said that and you came on here and started talking about that, I didn't know. I just basically thought
prescription games.
Yeah, I mean, basically that's cool.
A little bit. I mean, and it's a thing that a lot of gamers know sort of intuitively. When we're at PAX and we talk about it, we have a big stand-up. In particular, the one that catches everybody's eye is our one about how games can help with anxiety. But when you think about playing games, sort of all gamers have, that game you go back back to when you've just had the worst day and you're feeling down and you're just bummed out, and there's that game you can go pick up, and by the time you're done playing it for a little bit, you just feel better because that game improves your mood. And it's that same idea with these pieces in our therapeutic game guide. So the games that affect pain are games that give you this cognitive overload. There's lots of stuff happening. Mario Kart is a great example of a game that does that, right? Just you got to keep driving. People are throwing shells at you. Lightning bolts coming in. Whatever else. VR is outstanding for pain. It just gives you so much overload to your brain with so much other stuff happening that your brain forgets about the pain that you're in, and it concentrates on the things that are bringing you joy. And anxiety works in a similar fashion. There are mechanics in games that can lower anxiety and make you less stressful. So if the game is less rigid, doesn't have a timer on it, has more mellow music and sort of softer colors, it's shown that it can lower anxiety levels.
That's interesting you say that. I never thought of that, but I actually have an anxiety disorder. And immediately when you were talking about that, I thought of Super Mario RPG, which is one of my all-time favorite games. And I just thought about that, and I'm like, man, that game always really did kind of... Because I played through it for a third or fourth time recently, and that game is one of those when I would just, if I was feeling like crap, I would go on and I would turn it on and I would just play for a little while, and it was always just one of those games that I went to that did kind of calm me down. Nice. And I never thought about it like that until he just said that. That's great.
Yeah, and that's one of our big goals is we now, for a long time, Child's Play has been, we've been hugely successful in getting equipment into hospitals. And the things we've noticed in our visits that we've done lately is hospitals aren't, saturated's not the right word, but they're not hurting for equipment. There's lots of iPads and Xboxes and PlayStations out there now. And the next step is educating them on how to use it more intentionally. One of the things we've been really excited is as of this year now, between this year and last year, we've funded 8 positions. They all have various titles at their different hospitals, but they're essentially a gaming and technology specialist. It's a person whose job is to be part of the Child Life staff, but to bring things like virtual reality into the hospital, work with them on augmented reality, teach the kids how to use a 3D printer, manage the updates on the Xbox. We'll show up to a hospital sometimes and they'll tell us, all our Xboxes are broken and they need an update. And they just don't know. They're not, that's not their specialty. They're not necessarily gamers. They're the default people responsible for it in the hospital, but it's not their hobby. It's not that thing that they love. And we show up and go, broken, show us what you mean. Oh, hold on. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. These are all ready to go. And so we've worked on getting these positions out. So we've been able to fund 8 of them. And we're really excited to see, and our goal is for these to really become a standard in a children's hospital to help push that next level of child life forward so that every children's hospital has one of these positions.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. I can tell you that I went up to a lot of comic book artists and writers, and I hustled at Comic-Con to get a bunch of signed stuff so we could give people are donating to enter a raffle for our podcast. And when I would tell people about the charity, some of them hadn't heard of it. Some of them, like Robert Kirkman, the Walking Dead guy, had. But the people that hadn't heard of it were like, oh my goodness, that sounds amazing. I tracked down Robert Liefeld, who's the creator of Deadpool, and he signed 5 books for us. And the booth, the booth he was signing at, he donated his time. I mean, a lot of those guys usually charge for signatures, and nobody charged. And and the booth he was signing at, the people were like, well, what is the charity? And I told them, and they're like, oh my goodness, that sounds amazing. And I handed out business cards to everybody and told them about the charity and stuff, and everybody seemed really excited about it. So we're hoping to get a lot of people listening.
That's outstanding. Yeah, one of the things that we've realized is we've been passive, I guess, for the lack of a better word. We've had huge support from the community, and we've been able to use that support to get a lot of equipment out, and as we've been more active, we've realized we're like, oh, we should be also reaching out and doing some more of this connecting beyond just this core strong group that we have. So it's amazing to get groups like you guys out, even just getting an introduction to us, to people who haven't heard. That it makes a huge impact and a huge difference.
Yeah, we last year at Comic-Con, I think one of the people that did one of the pub crawls was doing it for.
That was one of the chosen charities.
Oh, it was one of the chosen charities for one of the San Diego Comic-Con pub crawls last year. So it's
out there.
It's out there, yeah.
Yeah, we have like I said earlier, we have this huge impact where we get surprised every now and then when somebody says, this thing is happening to do support for you guys. We go, oh, who, where, what? That's so much bigger than we thought.
It's fun to find out after the fact.
Yeah, and that's the catch, right? Like sometimes these things happen and we hear about them after the fact, and then we go, oh, we would have loved to support it and be part of it. But yeah, it's amazing the community support and things like what you guys are doing is just one more level that helps push that knowledge about what we're doing out there. So we really appreciate it.
Yeah, we're really happy to do it, and like I said, it really, when we were looking at charities, it really stuck out, and I asked a lot of questions to a couple charities, and you were really responsive and really passionate about the charity. And I mean, I know it was just through email, but you can tell that you were passionate about what you're doing, which is, it's honestly, I mean, even with charities, it's not always the case.
Well, I can speak for all four of us on the Child's Play team. We daily talk about how lucky we are to have this as our job. It's not, it doesn't feel like a grind. It is definitely something that we feel every day, the impact that we're making, and have been making a much more conscious effort in the last couple of years to start really trying to give that impact back to the community too, and share with them what they're doing, and show them how much of a change this has had on the lives of kids that they've supported.
Yeah, it's hard for me to just. You guys are just doing such a great thing.
Yeah, charity sells itself.
Yeah, I mean, we're all gamers too. So we're all gamers and nerds, and my wife and I have 2 boys and stuff. It's great. I can't exactly put it into words.
And it does help kids. It is a distraction. It's nice to have some kind of outlet other than having to go to the hospital to see a doctor and being felt like you're stuck there. So it definitely does help.
Go ahead.
We hear that a lot too. A lot of places are like, especially the more rural towns that we've been able to go visit, where these kids don't necessarily have the video games at home. And so for them, going to the doctor, which is sometimes a scary situation, is made so much better because this is the time where I get to go play an Xbox. And I get to play games, and these are the people, the Child Life people, who bring me these games. So I'm excited to go see them again.
Yeah, just to let you know the stuff we're raffling off. We have about 25 signed comic books from different people. We have multiple Walking Dead actor signatures on pictures and stuff. We have Ezra Miller. He plays the Flash. We're raffling one of those off. So we've got a lot of cool stuff that we're just. It's going to take me a little while to edit these because it's we're going to do 7-8 hours worth of content. But we're hoping to pick up a lot of donations and get a lot of money for you guys and get a lot of cool prizes out for the people that donate.
It's a win-win.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And our community, when I say we, it's our community is really the best way to say it. Our community is able to impact the life of over 1 million kids a year, which is not a small number when you think about it. And like I said, one Xbox impacts 1,000 kids. So a lot of people only be able to bring in $100, but $100 is a couple games, and a couple games can be a huge impact on hundreds of kids because those games get played over and over and over.
That's, you said it. I mean, even just 2 games, and we're hoping to get more than a couple games, but I mean, we're giving it everything we've got, and we're trying to. I put out a lot of feelers online, and a lot of big comic book fans who are asking me when they can donate and how much they can donate. So hopefully we get a good amount for you guys.
Well, we are truly honored that you guys chose us. It's always nice to hear from other people how great we are. We feel pretty good about what we're doing when we talk about it ourselves, but it's when the community picks us and says, this was a no-brainer, that it really confirms how strong that community support is, and just what impact we're able to have when gamers come together and really play games and nerd out as a way to celebrate this hobby and culture that we have and support kids at the same time.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you for not only giving us some of your time, but explaining the charity a little bit more, because I mean, I got what it was, but you talking about it actually expanded what I thought it was. I mean, it's a lot more
than just video games.
Yeah, it's a lot more just video games and playing video games, but it's a lot more than that. So I just want to say thank you for not just explaining it to the 3 of us, but taking your time to let all of our listeners know what the charity's about and what you guys are doing.
Absolutely. I'm more than happy to do it. And I would, again, encourage any of your listeners to go check out on our website, so it's childsplaycharity.org, that therapeutic game guide. It is such a cool tool. And, we love getting it out to hospital staffs, but we also like to get it in the hands of anybody and everybody, because if it can start landing in the hands of people designing games and they can start consciously thinking about putting these mechanics into their games, that's a huge win. And if you can use it to help explain, right, to someone who sort of goes, games, what are you doing? It can be that tool to help explain, like, this is that game that helps me with my anxiety or helps me when I'm feeling sad. And have one more tool to sort of back that up is a great thing to just help shed light on gaming culture and how it's not just this thing that people do to waste time.
I'm actually one of Alan, who's the nurse who's here with us, actually just brought up the therapeutic video game guide right now so I could look at it. This is really cool.
Yeah, we get an updated list. We work really closely with EDAR on it, and we get an updated list every month. And we're aiming to have a relaunch of our website here as we get close to our 15th anniversary. And one of the things we want to add on it is an actual searchable database. So, we can print one of these a year, but we're getting new games every month, and we want to be able to share those too. So we're really excited to get this out.
Very cool. Well, I just want to say thank you one more time, and from all of us, and we really appreciate you taking your time, and we will be in contact with you when I'm finishing editing all these and we get all the donations in.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again to you guys. Thanks to your community. Thanks to everybody who donated things into these raffles. This is a huge win for our community and for the kids that we're supporting.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Yep. You guys have a great one.
You too. We're off recording.
All right.
Thank you so much for the time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm always more than happy to talk about what we're doing.
I was just looking locally. It seemed like what hospitals here you're partnered with. I saw you partnered with Rady's Children's.
Yep.
What does it